So we will do it together, okay?
Did Hillary Clinton give 20% of the United States supply of uranium to Russia for donations to the Clinton Foundation? And it flows out of the sale in 2010 of this company, Uranium One, which controlled about a fifth of America's uranium, to a Russian firm called Rosatom.
And that is, we want to reset our relationship.
The reason Iran has 440 kilos of near weapons grade uranium sitting in a mountain right now, the reason we're even having this conversation in 2026, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, the 2015 Uranium One deal, the 2015 Iran deal. From a tactical standpoint, they didn't disarm Iran, they armed the timer. And Trump's the one cleaning up the mess. Welcome to day 60 of the Operation Epic Fury conflict. Iran's oil tanks are about to burst. Their economy is bleeding $500 million a day. And they just walked into the White House with the deal of the century. Open the Strait of Hormuz, but let us keep the centrifuges spinning. Marco Rubio looked them dead in the eye and said, hell no. The nuclear question is the whole reason we're in this war. But here's what they're not telling you. As you can see here, this is a page out of a filing by Senator Chuck Grassley out of Iowa, I believe. And what we're seeing now is the resurrection of this whole Uranium One deal. And the real problem, and Chuck Grassley lays it out in his documents here, he's raised concerns regarding the acquisition of Uranium One, then owner-based, U.S.-based uranium assets, a U.S. company, transferred 20% of America's uranium supply to Russia. Now, here's where we tie this together. We know Russia needs oil. We know Iran needs money. Do you think, leave a comment down below, that some of this uranium went from Russia to Iran? Because that's exactly what Senator Chuck Grassley is accusing. And I think he's got more evidence than maybe what we do here. But this is about a 91-page document that he has sent to the acting attorney general, Todd Blanche, and Kash Patel, the director of the FBI. And he goes back and he brings up all of it going all the way back to 2015, where he then wrote a letter to, wait for it, the FBI director at the time, James Comey. James Comey's name was misspelled over 400 times in various reports. And now we might get a little bit of answers. I'm not sure. I don't know how much faith I put in the investigations. But at the same time, it sort of makes sense where Iran got their uranium. I think Stevie Wonder could put these things together here. We're starting to see more information that has been put in place, or actions that were put in place to hamstring the current president. We've got a lot of liberal judges in place. But here's my big question. Do you think Russia would have traded uranium for oil rights, for mineral rights, for discounts, for the long-term play for Iranian oil? I don't think it's a lot to really stretch there. And I believe Hillary Clinton, Barack Hussein Obama are responsible for this entire debacle, or at least it smells like they're responsible. I can't really put facts to piece those things together, but I don't think you'll ever be able to do that the way that everything runs in Washington, D.C. But there are no coincidences. We all know that. This would have been on the heels of President Obama's last year and a half in office. So why wouldn't he enable a country that he sent pallets of cash, billions of dollars to? Now, the other thing that really occurred during this time frame was the amount of money that the Clinton Foundation received in donations from some of these oligarchs. And now we're seeing here, there's various comic books, sort of AI generated comic books that are very close to the truth in depicting exactly what we're seeing. And the one thing that we are seeing is a solid standing by the current administration of not wanting the Iranian regime to get a nuclear weapon. We don't want them to be able to control the Strait of Hormuz, because I'll just let you listen to Marco Rubio here.
The Straits is basically the equivalent of an economic nuclear weapon that they're trying to use against the world. And they're bragging about it. They're putting up billboards in Tehran bragging about how they can hold 25% or 20% of the world's energy hostage. Imagine if those same people had access to a nuclear weapon. They would hold the whole region hostage.
So Marco Rubio brings up a great point. It's an economic nuclear weapon by them being able to control the Strait of Hormuz. Imagine, if you will, if they actually had the capabilities to build a nuclear weapon. Now, all of the negotiations are on the table right now, but it seems like Iran's sticking point isn't necessarily opening the Strait of Hormuz. It's the part of the deal that they don't want addressed. And the part of the deal they don't want addressed is their nuclear capabilities. They want to be able to maintain the ability to spin up centrifuges, to get close to building a nuclear weapon with uranium that we don't really know where it came from. But I don't think Iran or certain places in the Middle East surrounding them are real hotbeds for uranium mining. That's typically Canada, in and around Utah, certain areas of Arizona, and Russia. So are you starting to connect some of the dots here? Because I am. And some of these dots are really freaking scary. Very similar in fear to the current economic climate that we're in. Well, you should probably look into some other investments. And that's exactly what I've done. I've partnered with Birch Gold. When the dollar's convertibility into gold ended in 1971, gold was fixed at $35 an ounce. I want you to fast forward today. Look up there in the top left corner. It is $4,500 an ounce. The US dollar has lost over 85% of its purchasing power. Gold, on the other hand, has increased in value by over 12,000%. That's why central banks are buying gold at record levels. That's why firms like Vanguard and BlackRock hold significant positions in gold. And that's why I encourage you to consider diversifying your savings with physical gold from Birch Gold Group. But it starts with education. Birch Gold just announced their Learn and Earn Precious Metals event. This free online event rewards you for learning the basics of investing in precious metals. Sign up to get free silver on your next purchase. Get even larger incentives as you go. The more you learn, the more you can earn. But you must act now. This special event only runs through April the 30th. You've got 2 more days. The dollar lost its anchor in 1971. You don't have to lose yours. Text my name, Dykes, to the number 989-898. You can see it scrolling right down there at the bottom. The other real problem Iran is facing right now isn't selling the oil. They can sell it. They can't get it through the Strait of Hormuz, but they actually can't get rid of it because they're stuck with it. And they're about to shut off some of their taps. And this is going to cause an absolute economic disaster in Iran. Their $500 million a day is going to come to a screeching halt. The countries that they supply, China, Russia, some of these other countries, this is going to literally dry up because they're running out of storage. Their exports are going to plunge because of these 2 blockades. One of the blockades they have at the Strait, the other blockade the United States Navy has in the Gulf of Oman, and they've turned back about 39, I think close to 40 ships as of this morning when I'm recording this video. But what do you think this is going to do to some of these countries that hate the United States? We covered yesterday a video by Germany where they're saying that the United States is an embarrassment, and Iran has basically manipulated us into being a joke on the world stage. Well, Germany, I'll ask you your question that you probably don't want to answer. Where are you getting your oil from? Well, you're going to be coming to the United States and buying it very soon, just like China. And I think Germany will eat those words because the blockade that's in place, when you look out there and you see a destroyer, when you see an MH-60 on the sunrise on the horizon, and you know that no Iranian ships are getting through, Iran should look at this as the negotiators, because that's exactly what this is. And the prospects of this going forward are very low as long as Iran wants to keep a nuclear weapon, as long as they want to keep the capabilities of creating a nuclear weapon. That is completely off the table. And as long as it's off the table, you're going to see a standstill here in the Strait of Hormuz. You see a lot of ships, a lot, and they're all sitting. They're all going nowhere. Do you see this? They're just lined up waiting, and they can't go anywhere because, number one, Iran is keeping them in the strait, won't let them pass. And then out here, further out, this 200 nautical mile line is where the United States Navy is not allowing them to pass here. So they're just huddled up. They're anchored out. And by being anchored out, they become more, what I would say, useful. Because as long as Iran watches them sitting there, just like the people on this coastline, that is a heavy influence for the United States. Look at the miles and miles of ships. That is a game changer. That is a scene that Iran knows they can't monetize. And when they can't monetize something, they're out. The news is coming out here. They have 22 days of oil storage left. I believe it's less than that. I believe, because we're rolling into day 60, that they are out of storage right now. I believe that they are probably within 24 hours of filling up all of their containers. And the longer that they refuse to come to the negotiating table, the longer that ships like this stay in place to interdict all of these other containers. And we're going to board them. We're going to inspect them, and we're going to take anything that shouldn't be there. And if you purchased oil, goods, services from the Iranians, you are supporting terror on the world stage. And that's what's happening. This is an image here from Karg Island. And you can see all of these containers are filled. And they're going to stay that way. As long as they're filled, Iran is not making any money with the oil that's in those facilities. This is the Ben Dykes Show. Make sure you smash the like and subscribe button. What are your thoughts about the Clinton Foundation, the Obama administration, Hillary Clinton? Did they enable the chaos that we're in right now? If Iran didn't have nuclear capabilities, would this deal have already happened? Would the uranium be out of the equation for this whole situation? I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for tuning in.